Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting. For those watching online, I'm Councillor McLeavy and I'm the Chair of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. The Council will be streaming this live on the Borough Council YouTube channel and can be watched there, and the whole of the meeting will be recorded except where there are confidential or exempt items. Part 1. Apologies for absence or attendance of substitutes. Okay, thanks.
Councillor Anne Thompson.
Thanks. Urgent items. To note any items that the Chairman considers to be an urgent nature. We've had none. Delegations. To receive notice from members who may wish to move any delegated matter. Non-delegated, we've had none of those. Admission of the public and press. There's no public here, but the press and the public, I would imagine, will be viewing online. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? Nope. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes from the 3rd of June. Is everybody happy for me to sign those? Agreed. 7, public participation. Any member of the public who wishes to speak or to ask a question, make representation or present deputation or petition for this meeting should have applied no later than 5 p.m. 2 working days before the meeting. We've had none of those. For decision, item 8, the annual report. John?
Okay, so this is the annual report which came to the last meeting in June. All I've done is add the work programme to it, and the recommendations are that we consider the reviews in the work programme and agree them, and that the Chair presents this to Council later in July.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions from anybody on that one? I will not be at full council, unfortunately, on in July. So, Frank will be doing that. So, are you happy with that, Frank? Excellent. Just on the report, John, I've noticed as we went through, there was one item that seemed to have slipped through the net, and that was the benches. What we're going to do about that, or are we going to address it further?
Add that to the work programme. It wasn't on the work programme for last year because we met beginning of March with the people from Bigger Bank, and then COVID took over and went into lockdown. So when the work programme was brought in July, benches wasn't.
Okay. Right, thanks, John.
Chair.
Yes.
On the COVID one, you know, the COVID work group, I think we should have another. It's a bit since we've had a meeting on that, and being chair of it, I think we need one because we're coming out of recovery now on the 19th, and we want to see what's going to happen. Because I reckon that a lot of vulnerable people, and the elderly and that, will fall through the net here because they're taking the £20 off the UC credit, which is a bad thing. That'll cause problems. Then you've got the evictions is going to come back in. So I think we should do a COVID one again if Katie can organise it and look at our diaries. Is that okay, Chair?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, going through the plan, the one I picked up on was the workbenches, but I was going to then outline that impact of COVID's ongoing, and we need not to forget that that is ongoing, and we need to progress that forward, and the membership of outside bodies, which is also ongoing, which Colin and John were looking at, I think.
No, I think that's finished.
Is that finished? It's got ongoing on here, that's all.
Yeah, it was. No, it was at the last.
So that's finished. So, yeah, so the impact of COVID needs to carry on. Frank?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'd like to concur with that view. The memorial benches, I know that we said that we were going to take a decision to affect the entire borough, but it is on South Walney, on Bigger Bank, where the situation's become arguably most acute, and I would urge that we do get that back on the work programme as soon as possible. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Frank. Anything more on the report, the summary and conclusions? No. Agenda item 9, the work programme update. John?
Right, so with the flooding on Walney, it's still not clear whether it's within the remit of this scrutiny committee to look at flooding. The regulatory body for the water companies is the Environment Agency. And then in addition to that, Cumbria County Council have got the Making Space for Water group, which I believe are meeting next Wednesday. And I think personally that it's groups like that should be monitoring what's happening.
Thanks, John. Bill?
Right, several years ago, Cumbria County Council set up a group called Making Space for Water. It's been going since about 2012, and that is attended by the water company, which is in this area is United Utilities, and I believe it's also attended by the Environment Agency, who is a regulatory body. Yeah, it'll be Cumbria County Council.
The only time we've mentioned flooding on the County Council is community places, and that's not taking place at this particular moment in time. So this one you're talking about is completely different, but to me it is.
Right, well, I've been told by a member of our Public Protection Service, who is Barrow Borough Council's representative on the work group, that they are meeting next Wednesday, 14th.
Where are they meeting?
I'll find out for you. Yeah.
I think it would be useful for elected representatives and people to attend that meeting as well, especially those that represent people in the parts of the borough where the flooding has become most acute. Could you perhaps look into that for us?
I can look into it, but it's not our meeting, it's Cumbria County Council meeting. And when you look at the scale of things, the Environment Agency has category 1, 2 and 3 pollution incidents. And if you sort of think, those of us old enough to remember the Torrey Canyon incident where 120,000 litres of oil was dumped into the sea, and compare that to what we're seeing on Walney, I don't want to dismiss what's happening on Walney, but it's nowhere near that category of pollution incident.
Yeah, with that, John, if you could find out for us and get that to us when that's taking place, because myself and Frank, being members of the County Council, we should be there representing the local area. So if you could find that out, we'll find out from the other end, please, John. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Yep.
Thanks for that, Frank and Bill. I would imagine as part of your investigation anyway, Frank, you will pick up on that and report back. Okay, thanks. The 3.2 discretionary housing fund and supported housing payments. Anne was the chair of this one. Is her substitute report for
sorry,
that?
the meeting that was scheduled for Monday had to be cancelled at short notice, so we haven't got an update on that item.
Can we push for something?
Yeah, I believe Katie's going to rearrange it, aren't you, Katie?
Right, thanks, Katie. Any questions on the... Well, there can't be many questions because we haven't got anything at the minute. Okay, thanks. And 3.3, the arrangements for the management of Peel Island. Wendy, any updates on that one?
Thanks, Chair. There's nothing to update at the moment because unfortunately it's not been possible to organise a meeting with staff. So as soon as we have a meeting with staff, then I'll bring it back to the next committee.
Do we have any forecasts? Sorry, do we have any forecasts for that? Because it's been a month since we last met.
No, Steph was under extreme pressure with a workload and then was on holiday, and then it's not been possible to get Anne, Derek and myself and Steph together, so I'll push for that this week.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Any questions on any of those 3 items?
The microphone's not. Oh, it is
Oh,
now.
you're on
Thank
now.
you very much. Just on the Peel thing, I mean, the working group, I mean, it's great to have the working group to do this, but now that we know that Peel is up and running, the ferry's running, the pub seems to be great because they've been over, had a look at it. Are you just keeping an eye on things? Is that what the working group's for? I mean, I'm just curious to know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. I just for information. Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Pretty much, Bill, yeah. It's basically just becoming aware of what the situation is over there with, at the time it was a prospective new tenant, but it's a way forward basically for everything that's happening on the island.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Wendy. I think from my understanding, and I think we're all over the moon, that the pub is open over there and the ferry is running. I think the issue which Wendy brought is due diligence and process that was followed in appointing the landlords, landlady, whoever it might be, what process has been through, and I think that's what the scrutiny is about. Is that right, Wendy?
That's correct, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any questions at all on those 3 items? Nothing on COVID? We've done that one, so there were the 4 items that we've got that are still currently on our work list. Wendy?
Yeah, can I just ask, with regards to the COVID and the benches, are we sticking to the original working groups for those?
The COVID one is an ongoing.
So keep the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We will await with bated breath for the meetings.
Well, because the benches has never been on the agenda, we haven't actually got a working group for the benches. Well, it's never appeared on any of the Scrutiny Committee agendas.
And it was my understanding, I know it's going back some time, Frank did bring it to the committee and we did discuss it, and it was around about all these benches that were appearing all around the borough and in the cemetery, all different, and there needs to be some sort of semblance of order. And it was my understanding from that time that somebody had taken it away to look at process and what is going to be put together to address the issue, which is why a committee was not put together. That was my understanding.
Yeah, and that was the former Assistant Director of Community Services.
Right, so that's obviously why it's not moved.
Can't comment on that.
Yeah.
So if we are going to reconstitute a sort of subgroup, me and Wendy, I guess, would be happy to prize the background, but we will need a couple of other people, or maybe one.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Could we get that one put back on the work list then, John?
Yeah. Katie will minute that.
So that's Frank.
Could we possibly, me and Wendy, could we possibly ask for one more volunteer?
I'll go on it. That's fine. All right. And on that note, thank you, everybody. That brings us to a conclusion at 2:15. Thank you.